Hi, my name is Darian with Read Learning Educational Services and Silver Moon Spelling Rules. In this video, we are going to explore the third syllable pattern in the Silver Moon curriculum. If you've made it this far, you are familiar with closed and open syllables, the first two syllable patterns in the Silver Moon Spelling Rules. If not, I would encourage you to pause this video, watch our earlier videos, and return when you're ready. The third syllable pattern is what we call the sticky unit syllable. And before we get too far, let's make sure we have a common understanding of what a sticky unit is. Now, this definition is also available on the 7 types of syllables handout that you can access in your instructor materials. A sticky unit syllable is a syllable that contains 3 or 4 letters that say a unique sound. Basic units look like a closed syllable, except they can't be sounded out. The letters in a unit syllable are often referred to as glued, welded, or sticky. You might also know this syllable pattern more simply as a unit syllable, but we like to include the adjective sticky as it helps to create a mental image for students to reinforce that the letters in these units are stuck together and can't be broken apart when spelling. Throughout the first 5 lessons of Set 2 of the Silver Moon Spelling Rules curriculum, you will teach 15 different unit sounds. Before reviewing the units you'll teach, an important first note is that students should mark units by putting a box around them. This will be especially important when dividing words into syllables, as it serves as another visual reminder that units can't be split apart. In Lesson 1, you will introduce the following 4 units: ang as in rang, ing as in ring, ong as in song, and ung as in sung. In Lesson 2, you will follow with 4 more units: ank as in tank, ink as in sink, onk as in honk, and unk as in bunk. In Lesson 3, you will introduce all as in tall and ol as in roll. An important note is that there is one English word that ends in oll that will not say ol. It is the only word that does not follow our sticky unit pronunciation and serves as a reminder to ensure that both you and your students are marking words correctly. That word is doll. Doll has a short vowel and follows the Sam Loves Fried Zucchini rule that students learned in Set 1, where roll has a unit and is boxed. In Lesson 4, students will learn old as in mold, olt as in bolt, and ost as in post. And finally, in Lesson 5, you will teach the final 2 sticky units, ild as in wild child, and eind as in grind. Something else to keep in mind with the unit IND is that the word wind and wind are spelled the same. Ensuring the closed syllable and the unit syllable pattern are marked appropriately should alleviate any potential confusion for your student. Now, you're probably aware that units can be parts of multi-syllable words like behind, enroll, or install. Notice that most of the time, our units come at the end of these multi-syllable words. That's not always the case, like in gangplank, a compound word, or mindful, where we've added a suffix. However, the spelling has not changed in any of our words. And while these units can be part of multi-syllable, compound, or more complex words with these prefixes and suffixes, the first 5 lessons in Set 2 will use single-syllable words, allowing students to focus on the sounds and spellings of those first 15 units. Now, it will be pretty clear which, if any, of these sticky units your student might struggle reading or spelling after giving the Set 2 Part 1 pretest. Should your student need some additional support in achieving automaticity or accuracy with any of the sticky units in this part, there are 2 things to use. First, use a consistent keyword as an anchor. Second, provide a visual, or better yet, have your student draw their own visual to represent the keyword and support retention and recall. A great place to do this is on the Doodle a Rule cards that came with your Set 2 curriculum. Providing additional support might look and sound something like this. For this example, we are going to imagine that your student is struggling with the unit olt, and the keyword you developed with your student is bolt. Notice on my doodle rule card, I have both the spelling and the visual. Start by pulling out the doodle rule card, which has both of those visual and written descriptions. Ask your student, what is our keyword for this unit? Your student should respond with bold or whatever other keyword that you've identified. Then have your student isolate the unit sound by asking, what does just our unit say? The student's response would hopefully be old. Now, if your student is unable to isolate the unit sound successfully, use this as a moment to reteach. As the teacher, I can say the keyword and isolate the unit sound, bolt, old, and then have the student repeat it to me. It's important to try and ensure that students are reading and spelling accurately the first time to maximize the amount of correct practice. Once your student has successfully isolated the unit sound old, introduce them to the words in the lesson one by one. A great way to further reinforce that unit sound would be to ask your student to box in the unit. Once they've boxed that unit, have them repeat just the unit sound one more time before reading the whole word. That was a lot of information, so let's walk through that sequence one more time. When a student is struggling, our first step is going to be to cue the student to remember the key word for that particular sticky unit, using the doodle rule card with both the visual and the written keyword. After they have successfully recalled that keyword, have them isolate just the unit sound. Now, if they are unsuccessful in isolating the unit sound, stop here and reteach to accuracy to ensure correct practice. Once they have successfully isolated that unit sound, have them box the unit in the target word and repeat just that unit sound before finally having them read the whole target word. To review, a sticky unit consists of 3 or 4 letters that say a unique or weird sound when spelled together. By the end of part 1 in set 2, you will have taught 15 sticky units, which are marked by putting a box around them when dividing words into syllables. And the doodle rule cards included with your set 2 curriculum can help achieve automaticity with struggling students. Excellent tool. To test your knowledge of sticky units, the 3rd syllable pattern in the Silver Moon Spelling Rules curriculum, head to the next video for a short instructor quiz.